I'm a diamond drilling roughneck working nowhere near a town. When I get out, I'll scream and shout hell by the bar around. A diamond drilling roughneck working all year long. It's time to raise your glasses to the diamond driller song.
Well, hello there, sir. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, partner?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I got you.
Can you hear me, Sean?
Yeah.
Good.
It's funny. I don't listen
Good.
to that song like very often at all, but it's cool when it hits on the intro. It just reminds me
Absolutely.
how good it is. But
It is pretty good. It is. I know exactly what you mean. You just sit here and listen to it.
Yeah, it kind of makes you want to just play the whole song. I was thinking earlier today too, just with the intro. I know there's not many, or maybe there is more now. You always see a lot of videos and stuff put up online. But if like anybody who's in drilling wanted to make an intro video, like we would just put that song in the background. But if anybody listening was to make one and send it to like Greasy Driller Podcast at gmail.com, we would I would put it up there. I'd put the music over it for sure. It'd be kind of cool for viewers to add stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But so we're working on the format of the show. So everybody listening is gonna get to watch us build this. Hopefully by like episode 15 or something like that. We just got her dialed and it's just super yeah, like a good structure and everything like that. But we are moving into the phase of getting some sponsorships on the show as well. So some advertising, and we're going to keep it short, obviously. The point of the show is for us to be just telling stories and chatting and stuff. But maybe we can actually just do a couple of the advertisements here. The first one is for Territorial Merch. Territorial Merch is a printing company based in Whitehorse, Yukon. They do screen printing, embroidery, laser engraving, vinyl applications, and then just any kind of designing. And shipping all over Canada. They offer a lot of promotional products. And that's about it for that one. I'll let Brent do the next one here.
Yeah, and this is Greasy Drillers 2021. Sean's in there with me now too, doing it, and we're working on some new clothing and previous shirts and hoodies and all that good stuff.
All that stuff to wear at the drill and get it all dirty.
Exactly. Yeah.
The third one here is New Age Drilling your future. So New Age is kind of our first official sponsor here. I actually own Territorial Merch, and Brent is the Greasy Drillers guy. So I want to thank New Age for sponsoring the episode. New Age is based in Whitehorse, Yukon. They have 18 drills. They have locations in BC, Saskatchewan, and now Manitoba as well. Specialize in everything from heli drilling to skid drilling on the ice. A lot of versatile equipment with this company. And thanks for the sponsorship.
I love that logo. It gets me every time when I see the logo of the company.
It pops, you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I can't recall of any other drilling companies having purple in their logo even, but it's pretty eye-catching.
Yeah.
Actually, when you're talking about Greasy Drillers, this my comment about wearing it at the drill. I always owning Territorial Merch and printing stuff for people. Sometimes I'd be pissed off if I saw them wearing it at the drill.
I can't stand it. It drives me nuts.
But the crazy thing is, I think now that I've done so much stuff, like I've had it going for years now, but the thing about like drillers and helpers and foremans is like they're wearing that stuff every day. Like they're like Homer Simpson. They just got the same stuff on every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they're probably getting the most bang for their buck by wearing it at the drill. At least that's the way I like to think about it.
Yeah. I literally seen a buddy there. I came into the dry and he was wearing it, and he forgot his work hoodie at home, and he was gonna wear it out. And I literally took my hoodie off, my work hoodie, and gave it to him. I said, "Take that damn thing off. Like, you're not gonna wear it."
We're doing it.
You know what I mean? I couldn't reckon that.
Well, it's funny. Like anybody else would be like, "Oh, just wear that thing and order a brand new one for when you want to go home."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just strikes a nerve. Like I was selling those Gear Jammer clothing shirts before, and I think that's how we actually got talking about printing clothing. Was I said I was making those, and I had made some of those New Age shirts and stuff. But yeah, I used to sell like the black hoodies that said Gear Jammer clothing thing down the sleeve, like really nice hoodies and stuff. But yeah, I give them to some friends, and then they're dumping a tube with it right after, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so today we actually I should really ask how you've been doing, or what are you up to? You're obviously in camp still.
Yeah, I'm up in Snow Lake, Sean. Been here a few days. Going all right. Things are good. Not too
I
cold.
guess you and Grant never froze to death there after our last episode.
No, he's actually my cross shift now. He's on nights.
Oh,
yeah. He's been pretty
still
happy.
freezing.
He's been pretty happy lately. I don't know what the hell's going on with him.
Okay, maybe he's it's like all the spotlights are on him after the last episode.
He's a rock star now. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I got a lot of messages and just comments and stuff from people. Like everybody knows Grant, and he was probably the last person they thought would be on like right away on the episode, but it went over really well. What'd you hear about it?
Yeah, no, he I heard some stuff too there. Like a lot of guys message me and say he's still the same old miserable bastard, but Grant's known. Everyone knows Grant, right? Greening.
Yeah.
It's good. He says a lot of stories, Sean, and I like them old guys. They're awesome to listen to. They're awesome. They've been doing it so long, right? They're old stories and their bullshit, right?
Yeah, and I've always thought Grant was like almost like a king of the one-liners. He doesn't tell like a whole lot of stories, but if he does, there's always like that one statement he has to make that just like busts.
Very blunt. Very blunt.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that episode was really good. We'll have some more guests coming on here as well. We're still getting people together. I guess I could throw the banner up here just again if anybody's looking to be on the show. I've had a couple messages, and we're gonna do. We'll end up doing a little like kind of pre-interview just to see if people are going to be made for the show or what they have to say. But yeah, if you're interested, hit us up at greasydrillerpodcast@gmail.com. I'd prefer if you just message that way. I'm not a big fan of getting the personal Facebook messages and stuff from people. I like to keep that life separate if I can, but I guess if you want to be a star like Grant, you got to do what you got to do, right? So hit Brent up on Instagram or
yeah. I'm not the social media thing. I just got the Instagram thing not long ago. I'm not a fan of any of it, but
yeah, I just get so many scams with the having a printing company, and
I bet.
Yeah, I get a lot of those, and then just as it is for like the drilling company that I work at as well, I get a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah, the odds of me actually messaging you back on Facebook if I don't know who you are, I'm probably just going to chalk it up to a spam message. But I don't know. I'm going to look at all the email ones. We're looking at them for sure. So hit us up if you want to be on it. And there's no cost for being on it too. I got to ask that. Like to be a guest on the show, Grant didn't pay to be on it. That's ridiculous. We just want to sit and chat with the guy, and that goes for everybody else. There's no fee to get on the show. Obviously for advertising, that's different, but Yeah, you want to be on, you got stories, just come on.
Come on down and bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess to start this episode off, it kind of goes with like not so much what I've been doing lately, but the last 4 or 5 months for me, anyways. I've been going to a lot of these conferences, the mining conventions and conferences all over the place. I was actually up in Yellowknife. We had the one in the Roundup conference in Vancouver was pretty recent. I did Saskatoon, Winnipeg. We have one here in Whitehorse as well. So I've been pretty active in those. I don't know. Have you ever, like over the years, you ever go to one of those, Brent?
No, I never been to any of them. Like I'm usually like I know there's some in Winnipeg, like you said, that it would be nice to make one, but I'm always in the bush, right? I mean, it'd definitely be cool. I mean, who wouldn't want to go? But
yeah, it's kind of weird timing. Like I don't know. I'm assuming it's just because the end of the year and the start of the next one is kind of why they plan them out that way, or maybe that's just how conferences are. Mm-hmm. They're usually in the fall time and winter, but as a driller at the end of the year, like when these things start, that's where you're like grinding. You're like, oh, Christmas is coming.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Like, yeah, to get away from work to go to a conference as a driller or helper, I'd want to have some dollars in the bank account too, because I know they go pretty quick.
Yeah.
Had my fair share of those hungry Christmases. But me and a coworker actually were talking about, we had went to the one in Saskatoon. So this was his first time going to one of them and just looking around, because like I'm there on behalf of a drilling company. So the first thing you do is look at the program and how many other drilling companies are here, because you want to be noticed, right? So you look through the list, and like that one, I'm just going to take a guess, but there's probably like 6 drilling companies there at least. And it's not a huge conference. So everybody pretty much goes by every booth. I had one set up there as well. And, now you're looking at your ways to stand out and stuff. But then what my coworker pointed out was, if you were here as a driller, like this would be a perfect opportunity to meet who you want to meet. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I, years ago when I had the video company going, I did go to, I'll say, I went to the Roundup conference in Vancouver, but I just lived in town, and I think it was, I kind of went there like 2 days in a row, but it was just companies I worked for, and they asked, hey, do you want to come down? Well, I didn't even get into the hall. We basically just went and got drunk a couple nights, and like nothing wrong with that. It was a good time. You'd still meet a lot of the people like at the after hours thing, but back then, not like any suppliers or geology companies wanted to talk to me. So I wouldn't say I really got the experience from it, but the weird thing about being there now, like thinking from a driller's point of view, is, we all, especially when there's no work, you send out all these emails or phone calls and stuff, and you're like, oh, hey Longyear, my name's Brent, like, are you looking for anybody? We all do that stuff. I don't know how people do it now. You have to call and bother these guys.
Yeah, I know it's totally like, I remember when I started too, you would call. I'm kind of the calling guy still too. Like I get flustered with the emailing back and forth. I think a call is still the genuine way to do it, but try to get through to anyone, right? Everyone's busy and doing other stuff. I mean, they just pass you on to someone else usually, but
yeah. And you're trying to get a hold of like by rights, you probably message like I don't know, somebody in HR, or you just, that's kind of who's going to give you the job, unless you're getting like a referral from somebody who already works there. So
yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's normally, I guess back in the day before, I'm sure they were bombarded with calls too, but like you used to call like Sear for work, and like you talk to Brian right away, and like now I think about it, I was a helper. I had like 2 years experience, and I'm like calling this guy every few days, like, "Hey, you got any work? You got any work?" And like he probably just threw me to work because he was so sick of me calling him.
Bugging them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't have a bunch of experience and you're not like the sought after guy, what else are you gonna do, right? You still got to eat, so you just get in there how you can. But then eventually you start getting the calls once you've worked longer. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, normally you'd apply through like these HR people and whatever. But now if you were to go to this conference, you can just walk up to the table of I don't know, anybody, well, even the company I work for, or like Platinum Drilling was there. You could just go to Platinum Drilling's booth and you could just talk to Steve. Like he's just he's there. So if you make a good impression, you never know how it ends.
100%.
Yeah, and like where else are you going to do that? You get all these drill company owners or operations people, or
like, no one's going to drive down to Whitehorse to have a chat with you or Doug, right? Or to Winnipeg Osis to see Steve, right? Like it's definitely that's the place to be, is a convention if you're looking for work. Definitely the place to be.
And you know, I never even thought about going to one of them like to pursue work before, but now it's, you basically do a Google search, find out there's conventions in every province. So you just do a Google search, find out which one is near you. You buy registration. You could even get just a day pass for, like it might seem like lots. I'm not really sure. I'd say on average are probably like maybe $100 to get in for the day. But if you're there to go get a job, like talking to a company owner and them even remembering your face is probably worth $100.
It's just worth it regardless, just to go and check it out. It's just cool, right?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about it. You know, if you're really, we always joke about it, but you bring all your swag, like your hats and pens and everybody, water bottles, everybody has that stuff. It's like if you're this helper, I know if, let's say me in like 2007, if I went into a conference, I'd be like, oh, sweet, like grabbing
You're loading up. You're loading up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the way I am too, I would like, you know, you'd have something from like Sear and then something from Farraco and something from I don't know, Platinum, and then you take it out in the field and the guy's like, oh, you worked for Sear before? I'd be like, oh yeah, it was a long time, guys.
I put my time in. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when I worked for Roger and I used to wear this Midwest like an old trucker cap that my stepdad had. And I was I don't know how old I would have been, maybe like 22, 23, young guy still. But I would wear that hat and I didn't look old, but I would just mess with some of the older guys and they'd be like, did you work for Midwest? And I'd be like, oh yeah, I was up in whatever jobs, make all this shit up just because I heard like all the older guys around town talking about it, and I'd say, oh yeah, no, I was up in Hemlo and all this. They give me these weird looks, like I'm obviously full of shit, but yeah, that's probably what I would do with all that conference swag. But at least, you know, if you paid the $100 going to a conference, you grab a couple water bottles, try to make up about $20-30 worth of your money. Now you meet a couple of company owners. It's well worth your while to go. So I would suggest that to people.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I've had people hand me resumes at those things too, which it's not a bad idea. I mean, everyone's there to kind of, you're there to impress, right? You have your company. You want the outlook of your company to look really well to others. Same as all the suppliers who are there. There's like you kind of meet, at least in the day-to-day kind of dealings and stuff. It's kind of like the who's who people, I would imagine, like of boots on the ground working and stuff. So you get a lot of contacts and stuff there. But you're just saying about walking around there, like there's other stuff to see other than just the drill companies. Like you walk in, hand some resumes out, you might get a job, and I can go check out all these other ones, like go to like the Reflex booth or Whole Products or Fordia, something like that, to see kind of the newer stuff that they got going. I was going to ask you about this one, Brent. When I was in Vancouver, I saw And I've seen these in years past, but the like fast descending back ends.
Yeah.
And you're a deep hole guy. Do you use those things much?
Yeah, I actually ran those in December there, November, December. I ran them in Fun Climb. The 40 primes are Discover primes, wherever they are. Yeah.
Okay. How like you use them right from the top, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I walked in there and that hole was 700 meters or something. We took it to 20, 21 something. So yeah, I think they used it right from the top of the hole, Sean. They're all right, but I mean, I'm not going to say nothing bad about them. I mean, they're a lot quicker for sure. But I mean, you wash your hole twice as long, but because they're faster, right? You wash your whole pump in a tube. So vice versa, you're looking at 2,100 meters. You're looking at, depends how flat your hole is. You're looking at 45 minutes to latch a tube, and then it's 17 minutes with one of those.
Oh, okay.
So you definitely do save a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Do you think like could they be so fast in kind of mucky holes that you pump that thing down, boom, it's locked, you want to get going, and now you run into trouble with
Yeah,
that?
that's what I mean. Like you're pumping for 45 minutes, you're washing your hole, right? As you're pumping.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're pumping for 17 minutes and you latch your tube. Are you gonna wait the extra, right? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really have an answer for you. I mean, they pump faster, but then you got to wash your hole longer. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you pretty much have to find, like, depending on the hole condition, what's that like I guess the minimum amount of hole washing time that I need before I can keep going, because maybe your tube beats it, like you said, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you consistently wash your hole, stop if you're drilling 20-foot gear or 30-foot gear, and if you consistently stop and wash every 5 feet or every run, whatever, I'm sure it'll be clean regardless. But I mean, it's 2025. People don't wash, I don't think, too much anymore. They just drill.
There's no time, man.
No time, and then wonder why their bit goes in 80 meters. 2,100 dollars.
Yeah, I remember having those. Like, we didn't have a centrifuge at this job. We were just doing this. I thought it was such a horrible setup, but one of those old poly drill tanks. Then it overflowed into a little square bin, like a super small, like, I don't know, what would it be, like maybe 30-gallon tank or something. And then it went into the water tank again. So we're drilling on the ice. We're emptying the sludge or making sausages out of this poly drill tank.
Yeah.
But you could only drill, like, we're using a flock block and we're dripping KI on in the tank to help settle stuff. Well, you can only get about like 21 meters, maybe not. I won't even say 27, like 21. You're maxing it out already. But you drill, you're washing your hole, but you look in your tank and it's just sludge, like everything. You're pulling the tube. It's just gray water coming out of there. We're catching all of it. And I'll have to track that picture of the tube, but I yarded it out of the hole and I took a picture just to send it to my boss or something to be like, hey, this thing don't work. But the whole thing, you couldn't see anything. It was just the spearhead, just a line of sludge, and that was it. And then after that, it's like, well, we got to get rid of that water and put a new set in there, and leave that to the imagination how we did it. But
or you go to send your overshot down and it only makes it like 2 feet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but it's funny, right on the timesheet. Oh yeah, 2 hours washing the hole. You're just washing it with all that shit in there. But the reason I was asking about those back ends is just for another company I worked for. One of the drillers actually emailed me. He worked for somebody, or no, he came in and was doing his complaining after a full hitch. But comes in the office, he's going off about all this stuff, and then he was talking about these back ends. And he was talking about the 40 ones because he used them somewhere up north. Yeah. I think maybe for geotech or something. And he was saying, and this is a guy that I didn't think he really like times his tubes and all that. And maybe he doesn't, but I asked him, do they really work? And he's like, yeah, like even you don't need them you don't have to be 2,000 meters down. He said like you're 150 meters down, you throw that back end in there. He's like, you notice it.
They fly, man. You get, well, like I said, 2100, it's 45 minutes or something. If it's pretty flat, and then it's 18 minutes, right? So you're cutting it in half for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like, I guess everyone's been there when you're going to get that big shift and you got the wire line going down the hole and it's just all over the place. You're trying to max it up. Just don't hop it over the drum is basically the goal. But I mean, everyone's going to be like that, pulling, like throwing the overshot down, pulling the tube. There's just guys who are going to do it full bore all the time, super hard on the equipment, taking big risks. But now you throw this back end into the mix, like it can increase the productivity. I just never used it myself. So, I mean, I was super fast all the time, so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely a good thing for the drilling industry for sure. I mean, whatever speeds it up, right? It's good for it.
Yeah, and at least using that, you're not. I guess at the end of the day, it just goes down the hole faster. It's not, ripping the tube out full bore to try save a few seconds. Well, it's pretty risky to the drilling process, but it's also dangerous as well, So like a change like that's really nice. It's just a better piece of equipment. It just does its job and it's not like really risking anybody. That's one thing I really like about it.
Yeah.
But so when I was in Vancouver, I'm walking around checking out all these booths and I've seen the Fordia one for a few years now. Like I worked lots with those guys, but I went by the Longyear booth and they have one as well. I don't know when it came out, but from what I gathered and just chatting there, it seemed like everything from the grease cap up to the what was it? I guess right up to the nut, like the adjusting nut. Yeah. I think all of that stuff was the same. Like they had a different bearing inside the grease cap though. And apparently this one, you don't have to grease it. It almost looked like it was made of like, it's an open bearing, but it looked like two pieces of like this blue Teflon stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And the guy at the booth just told me, I said, well, what's the point of this one? And he's just like, well, some guys don't grease stuff. Obviously, everybody knows this. But he said they've had this bearing. I'm assuming you still slap some grease in there anyways, but if you don't remember to grease it or you're just too lazy, it buys you some time. Yeah. Like they still wear out, obviously, but that was one kind of cool thing with it. But everything up to the nut was the same. Because as a guy who buys a lot of this stuff, I was like, well, we have all the standard back ends. It's like, what are we going to throw them all in the trash and move to these new fast descending ones? It's unlikely. If we're doing a couple deep holes, then you invest in it. But I don't know. At least you're keeping like, you want to switch to this fast version of the kit. Well, you just buy the top end of the back end, which I thought was a pretty good idea. But I don't know. I guess if you ever use that Longyear one, you'll be using it before me. You can share your insight on it. I'd be curious how the two of them stack up together, even that timing. You're saying this one's 17 minutes. Imagine you throw the Longyear one in, boom, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see. Try it up both out. Definitely something cool to do. I know the balls on them, my helper was popping them with like almost a 5-foot bar, but with a ball popper on the end. And I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? And I went over there with just a normal ball pop. I'm like, holy crap, man. The balls in there are like triple the size. You literally need like almost a 5-foot bar to pop them. It's crazy.
Yeah. That helper's probably this little skinny guy here. Brent walks over looking like he's off Monday
and I
Night
could
Raw.
pop it. I could pop it. I'm like, what the hell, man, right?
Yeah. They would I'd be really curious to use them. I think for the company I work with, at least, we'd be more inclined to switch to it, at least do a few back ends like that, maybe from Longyear, because we only have to buy the top end of the stuff. It's a lower kind kind of price of entry to it. But until I had the gear in my hands and put it together, I don't know if it's that easy. But anyways, the thing, at the conference, I'm working for the drilling company. That's always number one. But I had the Greasy driller kind of cards to give out to people.
Yeah.
Because just like I said, you're a helper, you go to a conference, you're going to meet all these drill company owners. While I'm at this conference, there's a lot of suppliers and company owners and just like really cool people want to hear their story. So I was handing the cards out. And the thing I was talking about with the podcast is just a way, not just a sales tactic with it, but it's true. Right now, our views, they're going up consistently. I mean, this is only episode 3, but on YouTube, we're between like 500 and 700 per episode. But we're also on Spotify. We're also on Apple Music, and those views are going up. Like per episode, we're well over 1,000, which isn't crazy numbers for the internet. But for companies to showcase something, sure, you can bring it to the convention, and that's great and all. Like people like me will see it, and company owners and stuff like that. But we're not the ones using it, so. You want the drillers, the helpers, the foremans to see this stuff. So another benefit to going to a conference is you can come in, you can see that piece of equipment, and now you can suggest it to your boss or something. Like you're a deep hole guy, you could be working with someone who hasn't changed their equipment in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And you see this and you bring it to their attention, right? It can be a game changer for
absolutely.
And with the sharing the info about the podcast, I just ask people, well, what's other than events like this, how do you get a hold of the guys in the field? Like what way? And there is no way. Honestly, this is the best way to reach the drillers, the helpers, the foremans, the operators, hopefully geologists and stuff. I'm not really sure who's listening, but we're hitting those numbers. We could have someone on here with that back end, and they could probably correct us on stuff we're saying wrong about it as well. But like pitch that thing to the guys, they bring it to the company owners, and they buy it and use it on the projects, and everything's more streamlined. But someone who hasn't went to the conference or worked for a company that uses these back ends, they might use it in 5 years from now, and they'll be like, oh man, did you see this new equipment that they have?
That's the thing in the past, partner.
Yeah, exactly. We're already using a laser one that shoots down. And you're still talking about this one from 8 years ago.
Talking about your brass reflex or your multi-shot with your pad you're sending down. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably somebody working right now using that old reflex, the one you unscrew when you like put the time in on there. And nothing against them, it's just they don't know what the newest stuff is. So unless the drillers and helpers and supervisors all decide to go to conferences here in the next couple of years, that's not really the most efficient way to advertise, I don't think. You still have to do it because, I mean, it catches a lot of eyes still for the people who are in there. But like you yourself, places you worked, as a helper or driller, did you ever mention something somebody on the project and it got fed up the chain and actually made a change? Like, do you recall any suggesting something or picking a drill or bits? Or
I suggest bits to some places, Sean. I mean, but I mean, for the most part, I kind of lucked out. Like the places I've worked, like for New Age and Top Rank and Roger, like it's for the most part, it's been really good. Like I don't really can't complain about too much, right? But I definitely
what they had there already, you mean?
Yeah, like the equipment and the gear and everything it's just already there. It's good, right? You need something, but you get it. I remember when I drove to when I was driving for you guys there, and I drove just like that all the way to Kamloops there for a rad, right? So for the most, it's there. It's there when you need it. You're not waiting on nothing or anything. But I mean, bits, I definitely suggest bits, like different kinds of bits. And there's so many, man, out there, new ones. Like some guy here just asked me if I heard of this bit. I'm like, I never heard of that in my life.
Yeah.
Right? There's just so many different ones out there now. It's crazy. Like 40 makes so many, like the Kraken bits and whatever else. What do they call them? The wizard family or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did learn though. I learned when I was in when I went to take commission of that CS 160 there, the 40 guy was there, and he actually told me like 817 or whatever they are, that they call them that because it's an 8-bit and it took them 17 tries to get it to where they want it. So that's why they call it 817s, right?
It's like version 17.
Yeah, 911s. They put the 9, like a 911 Extreme. It's a 9, but it took them 11 tries to get it to where they want it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was having dinner with some people from 40 a couple of years ago, and that was actually like, I'm all for marketing and everything. You have to do it. You got to stand out. But I found at that point, at least with the bit lineup that they had at that moment, the new ones, they were really confusing for the guys. Like even they had like the Zur and the Kraken and all these other ones, and like I think the like cool stickers on them, and you could do a whole campaign marketing them. But I mean, I'm at the drill and I open this box up and I'm like, well, what the fuck's this? You know, like I'm looking for something that's like a 911, and now I got this I don't know, Azure, I can't remember the other names of them, but you know, I'm looking at it and okay, well, I don't know what it is. We didn't have any of the literature at the drill.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. Either I'm going to throw it down and hope for the best, or, well, I like a good boy, I should call my foreman, right? So I give him a call and I'm like, yeah, we got the Azure here. I open it up, like, basically what number bit is this? And he's just, oh, fucked if I know. He says, well, there's nothing came in the box. You know, he's thinking of like those pins and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All the stuff.
He's like, well, I don't know, nothing come with the bit. So that's all he looked at. But yeah, he couldn't even tell me what it was. So, and I know they put out a lot of literature and stuff like that, but just by throwing like a 9 on the bit with that logo would have helped a lot. Just a lot of confusion, and it's
absolutely.
I think it's still going on. I've heard it from other guys, and you know, it sounds a lot easier for, like, say me being in management to call the guys in the field, let them know this bit is like the equivalent of a 9. Well, it's not that easy when some guys are days, some are nights, some don't answer the phone. You tell the foreman, he forgets to tell the guys. It's just put the number on there. That's how drillers have learned.
Yeah, that's how we know what we're putting down there. Exactly, 100%, Sean.
Yeah. So, and like last I heard, I think they're kind of like cleaning up that bit lineup, or like keeping those, because there's always like the really good ones, you know, like the 911 has been around forever. It's a wicked bit. The Hero series. I mean, I've mostly just used I think the 3s and the 7s. So I don't know much about the other ones, but like they've all been solid. But yeah, I don't know, like keep it simple, stupid, you know. Like we just need to know what number it is.
Just them little numbers, exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
But you know, I mean, say you were working for New Age. Now you go to Rodran. You've seen this new bit. You bring it up to somebody. Like if you're a trusted guy, they're probably they're gonna try it anyways.
Absolutely. Like I don't think there's been like I said, for the most part, like a guy requests a bit, like 85% of the time you're gonna see it at some point. They'll give it a go, especially if you got some time under your belt and you know what you're talking about, right? If Joe Blow comes in and he's helped for a month and went drilling, they're probably gonna look at him like he's like fuck off, basically. But for the most part,
you can order a dozen of them right now.
yeah, bring them to their drill and put them in the cabinet there for them. But But I mean, for the most part, yeah. I mean, but I'm like you, Sean. I just stick to what I know. I stick to my Hero 7s and my 9s, my 911s, right? I stick to what I know. 11 AC.
Yeah.
Whatever, but
like, I don't know. I guess me when I got it, even as a foreman, I guess like you're not buying the bits as a foreman, but you're you can request stuff. You know the ground conditions. You feed it up the chain, and so I noticed there I would talk about bits that I've used for another company. That's the only way that I would have heard of gear. You know, even being the like all-in drilling guy, I wasn't getting off shift and Googling like the newest bits. Like I wasn't going to Hayden's website to read on bits. Like I don't care. But yeah, I'd work for somebody here, this bit, you go work somewhere else. You're like, hey, we should order some of these, like, I don't know, Hayden 9s. And then they order them and now they do good. Well, now that's the bit we're using, you know?
Exactly. Everywhere's different. Exactly.
Yeah. So like getting that word out to people, like, especially as a supplier of everyday consumables like that, promoting it on here, I think is like probably the way to go.
It is for sure.
One of the guys, I can't remember which company it was for, but we were kind of having the same discussion. And I said, well, how else do you reach? I think it was a guy from Tactex, maybe. They had a drill set up there, like beautiful drill on tracks and everything. And yeah, so we're talking about the podcast, and I just said, well, how else would you get the word out there? And I said, well, you going to go on the Facebook page? And he's kind of went like this. He's like, oh, no, like that's the last thing you want to post on. And, you know, I heard it from a bunch of places because I think we talked about it on another episode, but like you go cut 100 meters tomorrow and put up a picture of yourself sitting on that core and just see what people can say to you.
Oh, God. And that's what I mean. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Yeah. And so from a supplier's point of view, like, okay, here's my new bit. You throw a picture up on the drillers group, like it's going to be just mayhem on there.
It's those guys. There's guys. Exactly. Yeah. It'll be great chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, at least on here, like we said, we're not out to shit on anybody at all, but we're not going to lie and say, oh, every company, they have really good equipment, and some places, some of their stuff sucks, other ones are like wicked at it, and then the quality's up and down. It's just everyone has their different opinions as well, and some guys, they could be swayed by a cool sticker on a bit, and that's the one they want to use because they want to put the sticker on their hard hat or whatever. But you know, advertising it is, I think, a really big deal. But I do kind of wish back in the day that I went to these conferences, or at least had someone who went to them and would actively look at like new technology that's out there, new supplies, and bring them to the company. And I think there's a lot more of that. Like you said, working for New Age and like, I guess, Rodrin, Top Rank and stuff. Like, I think guys who really take the time to look into specifics of bits and tooling and stuff like that, they're not afraid to pull the trigger on something new and get it out there, and it does show in the work that they do. But I guess to kind of sums up the conferences, you know, I do suggest anybody, drillers, helpers, foremans, like just look these things up. It's usually in the kind of the fall, winter, and springtime, I guess, that these conferences go on. But if you're looking to meet like just other industry people, it's not a bad idea. Like spend $100 and I don't know, take your old lady on a trip, go to Vancouver and go to the conference one day, something like that. But I think it'd really pan out and you could see some cool stuff. And then don't forget to grab all the free stuff on the table. You know, Brent might be set up there one day with a table full of Greasy driller shirts, and, you know, just grab them. Take the whole table.
And don't tell your wife you're going to a mining conference until you get there. Don't tell her nothing to do about diamond drilling until you get there. Yeah. Until the plane lands.
That's got to be just like, must be so miserable. And, you know, it goes both ways. Like, because there's a lot of women at these conferences too that are like supply, well, doing every other job too, right? But I'm sure some of them, probably their husband is like I don't know, maybe he's an accountant or something like that. She's selling drills. Now they go there and it's like the guy's probably like, oh my god, like how much more of this drilling shit do we got to talk about?
Yeah. Or he's like, these guys are so cool here, eh?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe I should do that the next down the road. We'll just have we'll have a greasy driller thing where me and you are going to the conference, and then everyone watching this thing, they could be like, well, I want to come, and we're like, okay, we'll get the tickets for you, and you just pay, and we'll just show up. We got like a crew of like 100 diamond drillers and helpers.
That'd be awesome. What
Yeah.
a show that would be. Yeah.
Yeah, stealing all the free stuff and like complaining and, hey, you got any work?
Yeah.
Or what are you guys paying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I guess the other thing we were talking about was like, what are we in? We're already 46 minutes in here, but we were talking about kind of the dream company, like we're a diamond drilling podcast. It just makes sense to, if you can complain about a company, you should be able to like have a solution to how they could fix that. So I guess this would be like a little exercise. I'm sure most guys in the field have played this one too, where you're like, oh, if I owned a company or if I won the lottery. This guy I used to work with, he'd always say, I'd ask him for a bit or something, or I'd have a complaint about the hours we're getting or whatever. And he'd always say, well, Sean, when I make head office, there's going to be some changes here. I'm pretty much telling you I'll piss off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, if let's say we were starting a company right now, I just wrote down a couple questions here, but like, first of all, with the company, like what would be the reason you'd even start one? Like what would be the values of your company? Like what's the main objective here? Obviously to drill.
Yeah, I mean the main objective is just to I often wonder this when I'm drilling. I don't know if it'll probably never ever happen that I'll do it, but I'll start my own thing. I think just to be just to work for yourself and I mean there comes a time in a guy's life he wants to, there's more out there for a guy, right? I know it comes across my time all the time when I'm drilling that there's got to be something more out there than just sitting here drilling. But I mean, I don't know, just to run the show, Sean, and run it your way. Like you said, a guy picks up a lot of different things throughout the years, and a lot of things you disagree with and a lot of things you agree with, and a lot of people you agree with and disagree, same thing. And the objective is just to run your show and especially when you take so much pride in diamond drilling, like yourself and myself and many more guys out there, and to see what you can do, see if you can do it, basically, right? See if you can actually make it happen and then set yourself up and life a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if we talked about it before, but when you're a helper, or at least how it used to be, you show up, you're like, oh, thank God I got a job.
Yeah.
And then you shut up. You just kind of keep your head down, but you listen and you watch what's going on. But your opinion, like, it's different. When I was a driller and I get a brand new guy, everyone has life experience. So I'd always tell the guy, like, if you have a good idea or you see me doing something really stupid, like, please let me know. I'm going to listen to you. It doesn't mean I'm going to, you have some invention. I'm not going to give you money so we can start making it or something. But like, I'll always listen to the new guy with ideas like that. But if you're a new guy on a job and your foreman's there, you got 2 shifts on the drill. Like back then, you just shut up, you listen to that guy, and that's it. That's at least how it should be. I know it's not really like that anymore, but I get enough messages from like brand new helpers with complaints on jobs and stuff, messaging like my personal Facebook, thinking that's the best way that they can go about things. That's a whole generational thing anyways. But when you're the helper, you just kind of listen, you get good, then you become a driller. And once you're drilling, like, I don't know if I never really thought about it that way off the start either. It's like, okay, yeah, it's my shift. I only thought about the negatives of it. Like, oh, great. Now if we fuck up, I'm eating shit over this shift, but in reality, you've moved up and you are a supervisor. You're supervising that helper. He's your worker. He ain't the foreman's worker. Like he's yours. So now you got that. That's your first taste, I thought, of kind of being in charge now. And some guys sink or swim, where if you can't manage that one helper, how are you going to manage a whole drilling company or even a project? But I think, you get that little taste of it. If you're good at it and you like it, now the next step, you're going to be a foreman or a supervisor on site. And you get a little more taste of that, more responsibility. And then you always hear of a lot of guys, and hopefully we'll have some of these guys on the podcast here, like guys who've started their own companies from nothing, but like what made them do that. Like I would feel you either get super pissed off at who you're working with, like you're just fed up with drilling companies in general, and you're like, I can do this better, and then you go do it. Or you've worked your way up, you're become like an operations guy or a safety guy, and then you're like, oh, like you said, you want to set yourself up in life, like financially, and be the boss. Like you make the jump because of that, just because you think you're ready. I guess like down the road, we'll hear a lot more of these stories, why people make that leap. And, but I guess my point is, no matter what the reason for doing it is, I think deep down, like they want to be the boss, like you said. Mm-hmm. Like you want to have a little bit of say.
You want it your way. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I guess that's the hardest thing would be you're the boss now. I want it my way, like you said, but you got to get everyone else to buy into that as well, because they got to want it that way as well.
Yeah.
So that'd be the point of us kind of running through this. Like for me, like say the values of your company, obviously, like we want to drill, we want to like safety and environmental stuff. We want it to be, for me, you want to be innovative on that stuff. It shouldn't be a burden to not spill oil on the ground, is how I feel. So plan your equipment around that. Like we got to do oil changes in the field. You can't avoid it. But if I had my own outfit, it would be like that. Like I want our equipment to work with what our rules are and our goals and whatnot. But the other part of it would be, really making the workers feel like they're part of that company, like not just a worker collecting a check, but like, if that's what they always say, it's in all these like course management courses and these books and stuff. It's like, get the guys to buy in, but it's always like the most annoying person at the company, or like someone who's never actually done that job. And they're like, come on guys, let's buy in here and let's get this meeting done. And I just think it's handled really wrong. Like I would want people to feel that they're working with me and not for me, and still have that respect, but like, I don't know, suggest your bit types and drills and ideas.
And then feel appreciated, feel like you like spending, say, months on end in the bush, and like you want to feel appreciated for it, right? I mean, while everyone else is sitting at home in their own beds, like, and I think for the most part, most companies out there, don't get me wrong, there probably are some that could give a care less, and you're just a number to their company and a money maker. But there's lots out there that treat a guy pretty good, and they respect what he's doing for him, right?
I think a lot of those, like, I really noticed when I worked on the oil rigs, this guy showed up, and we had 6 guys on our crew. Guy shows up he's like a mud guy or something, but he just shows up, and I had like a month or something on the rig, and then he just shows up, talks to who he needs to, like consult and drillers and stuff, and then I'm just like a roughneck at the time, And he's like, oh, here you go. Like gives you a hat and gives you a couple t-shirts and like all this swag. And I was like, holy shit. Like I don't know, it makes you feel a little more important. Just like those little gestures go a long way.
Absolutely. They do. Just smallest little things. You're right.
Yeah. And I would hope, I've actually seen it more with like the smaller companies that they're more willing to like to give you that stuff or to listen to you. And it probably like, and yeah, some big ones do as well. But if you're like, if you're just a brand new helper, you know, as a brand new roughneck, they're giving me stuff and the guy actually talks to you. Well, then you're a brand new drill helper and they're like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's true though. Yeah.
But yeah, those, I don't know, those little things, like everybody does have really good ideas, but I do find, at least when I got into a position to make some calls, the people bringing the ideas up also brought them up in like the most unprofessional way or like demanding way. So it's also like on those, like if you're good with people, I think you can get your point across without being a dink, but some people can't. But yeah, I don't know, like, you know, those values, just making people feel like we're all in it for a common goal, which we are. We want to drill efficiently and safely and fill our pockets up and have some cool shit to wear. So I think we're on the same page with that one. I guess my next thing I had, like, what would it give the workers? So like, we basically touched on it, but maybe we could get more into like finances or like what, or let's isolate that one first. It's like, okay, there's finances. Obviously, we want to make the most money, but like, what else? Like, what else do you want as a worker? What would you want to give your workers?
Well, I would want to treat them very good. I would want to give financial wise. I would definitely, not that I'm trying to get a big bonus here, nothing, but hey, but I mean, I would, I mean, a guy, it's all about, so say you're cutting, the guys are out, you're, you know this and I know this, you're out, the whole point of this is making money. Bonus is a big thing in the diamond drilling industry. So you're getting next to nothing for bonus, but then this other place you're getting triple the money, if not more. So it's all about, you're not going to go and, I don't care who you are, you're not going to go and drill, say you're getting zero bonus. You're not going to put 110% in every day and work your bag off. Vice versa, this guy giving big money for a drilling bonus, right? You want that bonus. That's what we're there to work. So I would definitely pay crazy good bonus to my guys. And honestly, even the benefit thing, like, it's not even a thing anymore. I know it ain't for me. Like, I mean, my wife, I'm under hers, right? Like, whatever. It's the same.
Did you even care about that when you first started at all? Like, I didn't even.
No, I you know what I mean? I don't bother wasting. Like, I would go to the dentist twice a year, so it's not really a big deal, right? I don't even. I'm not going to go to the get eyeglasses anytime soon. And the chiropractor, I've never been there in my life. So I don't even care. I forget it's there. I just see it coming off my check every 2 weeks, right? Basically.
Yeah.
But as I had kids, I kind of care. But I'm on my wife's now, so it doesn't even. I think the biggest thing is just bonus and like you said, the small things, man. Like, just treated. Even a hoodie here and there, or just small, even a sticker here and there is right. It's just small things make diamond drillers happy, man. Right?
Well, it's like the story about the bits, you know, and I said that foreman, he can't tell me anything about the bit, but he can tell me if it came with a sticker or like a pin or something.
Yeah.
that's his pat on the back from the supplier, is getting that sticker, because no one else has it. And he's gonna rifle through 20 bits before he puts them in the container for you to take.
Yeah.
But you know, that the benefit thing too, like I'd say, like, my prime years of drilling, like actually being out there, I didn't have kids. I never went to the dentist. I was lucky, I guess, to have pretty straight teeth and whatnot. But like, so I didn't care about that. I don't wear glasses, didn't have kids. I didn't give a shit about benefits at all. Like nothing.
No, the last thing on your list on days off was going for massage, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I like to think like, oh, back then I wish I would have used those benefits. And okay, yeah, for dental, I wish I would have like kept
Yeah.
up on it a little more. But anything other than that, like I didn't need to go to the chiropractor when I was 21.
No.
Like I worked, like maybe it would have been nice. I don't know, but or get a massage. But most drillers I know, like when they're going for a massage, they're not worried about getting their neck rubbed down, so like they're that benefit, no one cares.
Yeah.
But some guys, like I have some buddies that had kids when they're like, I don't know, like 18, 20 years old and stuff like that. So for them, yeah, it did make a difference. Like I think companies should offer it for sure. And like you said, you're on your old ladies, say hers is like 80% coverage. And now you get one from a drilling company. Well, that brings you to 100. Like you can use both of them. I didn't know that until I was with a pretty smart girl who had benefits.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I had drilling ones too. So basically, yeah, I mean, hers covered quite a bit. She worked at this mine site and I had some through my employer, but a lot of guys too, they always think if a company has benefits, like, oh, right on, I get benefits. It's like, well, you're still paying for them. Like,
yeah, you're still paying. And then if you're only working for a company that has 30 employees, but the other company has 500, then you're paying $40 over there, but over here you're paying $300 a month.
Right? Yeah, it all depends like what plan they're on and how much money the company wanted to spend on that stuff too. There's all different tiers of insurance.
Yeah.
And if a company doesn't supply them and you don't have a partner that has them, well, you can just go get Blue Cross. Like you can pay for that stuff yourself. So all the drilling companies are really doing, which like I don't even have benefits right now, but there's nothing stopping me from just, instead of that money coming off my check for a predetermined package, I can just spend all of like my own money and pick my own plan for what's best for my family. Everybody has different needs and whatnot. But yeah, I've always heard like, oh, they don't even have benefits. And it's like, well, if they told you were paying for them, you'd probably not want to work here now. You'd want to go to the guy who doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
I think another thing, Sean, I want to add to this is RSP. Like I think I've worked for one place in the past. They had the RSP program, and I think that's huge too, right? Is like matching you or whatever a percentage of what you put into it. Because like how many guys actually? I mean, I started doing a little something lately, but all them years, man, like I never ever even bothered with it, right? I didn't even know what RSP meant for the first 10 years of my drilling or 5 years or something in my drilling industry, right?
Yeah, you just knew it's like, oh, they want to take more money from me.
Yeah, right. Like it's there in my head. Maybe I should put some money in there, but you don't end up doing it, right? Like, yeah. So I think that's the big thing that I would definitely offer that if I was.
There, well, it's more, it's the option. It's like, hey, like no one forces you to save for your retirement, but most guys, I'd say nowadays, like I can't even imagine retiring. Like I don't even know like how.
Let's not even get into that. It's depressing.
Yeah, that's a full episode. We'll do that under like a whole.
I won't sleep if you bring that up, partner.
We'll have a life podcast and we'll just get into that. Pour yourself a glass of whiskey and listen to us complain.
Fall it off the wagon, yeah.
But it's at least that's an option there. Say they're going to match it for, I don't know, $5,000. If I take $5,000 off my check, company gives $5,000, it's $10,000, which deducts off my taxes and stuff too. But that money's there for the future, and you'll pay taxes on it too when you pull it out. But it's an option. There's some people, and I wish I was one of them that would have been a high priority when I was younger. But you still have the option always, like every year you can put this much away. That just accumulates over the years. So right now you can put your whole years worth of wages into that if you wanted to, but or wherever it maxes out. But yeah, having that option for sure is a big one. I know a lot of the bigger companies do that, and I think people are lots like, well, even us, like you said, you didn't even know what an RSP was. I didn't either. My stepdad said, "Oh, you better buy one of these for taxes." So I did. I didn't really know what I was doing, but yeah, people are wiser now. So if you give them the option, they're probably going to jump on it, or they won't. But at least you can advertise with that too. Like, hey, we got this, 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 and this. Like, maybe you don't want one of them, but we do have it. It makes you look good. So yeah, that's a really good one. I didn't even think about it. I guess trying to think of something extra that I would give the guys. I guess it ties into, I'm just curious about, I think me, you, and Grant touched on it their last episode, but when it comes to scheduling, like, what would you try to change that? And let's not go for, the guys who work in this town. Like, I had buddies in Snow Lake. They lived in Snow Lake and they worked in Snow Lake. So like, in reality, you could do like they work during the week and the weekends off or something like that. Like, would you change any of that? Let's say for the job, you got to fly out in the northern Saskatchewan into the bush. Like, how would you want to structure that?
I don't know, man. It's time to work. It's time to work, right? I'm 28 and 2. Don't get me wrong. I got kids now, and I want to be home a lot more. But you're home for a week and then you want to go back to work anyhow. So I mean, at 28 and 2, I agree with it. I like that. I like even like the 6 and 3 or 6 and make that work out some way. Like, I don't know. I don't mind it one bit, the 28 and 2. I never really have, but at the same time, like these guys say 2 and 2 and they're home with their kids more, but that's like, you must as well get an 8 to 5, man. Like,
yeah, I think it's, I don't know. Like on one end, it'd be, I would love to fly everybody up and it's like, hey, work your 5 days and go have a weekend with the family.
That would be awesome. That would be ideal.
But
that would be ideal, Sean. Go home for the weekend. We'll fly you out, and you're fly to the airport, and your drive's only a half hour home.
Yeah,
that would be ideal.
But on the other hand, it's like, okay, a lot of times those costs are pushed onto the geology company, or depending how your contract's structured. But so let's just first we'll talk about finance. So it's like, well, no one's gonna pay that if you got to pay for all these planes and move people and whatever. But it could be structured a little bit different if everybody was on board with it, because I know I'm more or less going to like the 6 and 2s and stuff. And I'm not saying geologists never work those schedules, because I've seen them work even longer hitches than I have, especially the project, like the supervisor project geologist. Like sometimes they're there just the whole job, but like no one's going to pay for that. And then as it is now, when guys work 4 weeks, and if they actually put some money in their pocket, like where they have some at the end of their 2 weeks at home, like how many guys miss flights all the time? Like, could you imagine if you gave them every Saturday, Sunday off?
It ain't happening, partner. Like, exactly.
Yeah, you ain't getting them back on Monday.
You ain't getting them back.
Yeah. And I don't want to say like, I know on here I'm always going to be like, yeah, and these guys do this, these guys do that. It's like, I'm one of them guys. I never missed the flights to work, but I fucked up at work and I missed a lot of them going home.
Yeah.
So
you go back not even with enough for a fucking pack of cigarettes many a times.
Yeah. Right? And that's where, like, me not having kids and stuff, I was always really good at, I wouldn't blow all my money in 2 weeks. I'd take a big bite out of it for sure. But I always like saved enough. I never commissaried my cigarettes before I even showed up to a job. Like, I always had money to at least get 2 cartons of smokes. I had work gear. I could pay for my extra bag, all that kind of stuff, but didn't need to pay advances. But yeah, like you can never do it shipping these guys out that quick, because I've had guys, they work 1 or 2 weeks and then they switch to another job and they're partying like they just did 8 weeks. And it's like, fuck, we needed you to rest in town and you got to go out somewhere. But, I think if you went to work I went out myself for 4 days to go check on a project, and you come out of the bush and it's like, oh man, days off now. It feels like you've been in there forever. So I think if you sent guys out after 5 days, they'd go crazy as if they worked 6 weeks in the bush. It's just
It
natural.
feels like the same thing. I know exactly what you mean, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think, I really do think guys after, and even myself, after working 5 weeks, you just don't have that same drive. And like, there's no way at week number 2, or at week number 6, I'm not working as hard as I was at week 2. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just like you're getting worn down 12 hours a day. You're like,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, man. Yeah.
So I don't think I would do 6-week hitches at all. I would probably pull guys out after. I'd go a little bit over 4 weeks if it's legal and all that. But they always say every day off, that's another week that you can work. So I don't know. I'd probably keep guys. I'd still stick to the 28 days on, maybe 30 if you need to. But personally, like you said, like I think we kind of mesh up in that way, is like that 1 week off or like 8 or 9 days and back to work I think that's a really good schedule, and you can at least put money in your pocket that way, like working the 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off consistently, or even a little bit less of time off. You always have more money than you do working 4 and 2. Like 4 and 2, I found for myself was kind of keeps me afloat. I'm putting a little bit away each time. I'm enjoying some life, and then you kind of carry on with that. But yeah, if I blew all my cash, I'm working 6 weeks on. I'm home for 2 days. I'm calling whoever else might get me to work if these guys don't. But yeah, different strokes, I guess, for everybody. But one thing I would do, and I've heard of some companies doing it, especially where I am up in the Yukon. Say we got a guy working for how long? He's worked 4 weeks. Instead of flying him home, I would offer. I shouldn't say this because like I haven't offered that, and I don't think I'm in that position. But like, hey, Brent, I'm gonna fly your old lady and your kids up here instead, and you get 4 days off. Like keeps you going. That's like, if you're a family guy anyway, that's who you want to see. Or even if you're not, it's like, hey, spend 4 days here and party it up, and then go back. I'd like to see a little more of that, probably.
That's awesome.
But yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's drama that could come with that too. They split up, and now it's like, oh, I got to fly these kids home, and this guy don't want them paid for. But I think in general, if you're especially in a nice place like Whitehorse is beautiful, tourism's huge here in the summer. Fly some family up, and maybe even buy your own hotel, but the company even maybe looked after the flights, or they get you a free night or something like that. I think that goes back to the little things that would make a big difference. I guess, the other one we talked, like, what does it give to the guys? What would it give to the clients that you drove for? Like, what if you had your companies? Can you name something you would do that your company would give the clients that maybe they're not getting from current drill contractors?
I don't really have an answer. That's kind of above my pay grade, partner, but I don't really have an answer for you on that. Like I for the most part, I've been pretty, like, in my career, like, sure, there's been a few shit show jobs, but I mean, for the most part, it's been pretty good, right? Like, so I can't really relate to like client wise what I would be like. We put rock in the box, man, and then like, say, core orientation, all that stuff. We do what we're told, and I would definitely be on there. Don't get me wrong, there are some guys that treat the core like it's not paying our bills, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'd be on that for sure. Some guys just don't understand that, but they just throw it in a box and say it's good.
Yeah. I get a lot of that too is, well, these other things you said, it's like, well, I want the guys to feel happy, throw them a sweater, give them a little better schedule, give them some more cash. But then you stress, well, like, why is core orientation important? You know, like you got a happy worker now and maybe a more informed worker of what they're supposed to do. Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. Like, that's where it'd be sick to have like a geologist on here and talk about like, especially preferably like a geo that's worked with like 6 different drilling outfits on different jobs. Like,
what they'd want to see more, right?
Like I work with a lot of clients and like in drilling, and then, you know, like I own the printing company as well. And it doesn't really matter what industry you're doing, or you're providing a service to somebody. It's the same as us go shopping or go eat at a restaurant. You want to be treated good. But I think like to give back to the clients, you want to like obviously there's a good price. You want to give them a good price. You want to give them a good job. The work's done safely. As a project manager, like they got to deal with everything. They got to worry, especially in a bush camp. Like, do they got to dig a new outhouse hole? And then, somebody doesn't like the food. This guy got kicked out for this. Like and then never mind the actual job they're there for, like to plan the drilling project and manage their crew. Like they got a lot on the go. But I think as a company, I would try to take care of all those loose ends that they shouldn't really have to deal with. You know, like all the core orientation, the helper's not actually marking the line on there. The core is dirty going into the box, or it's mislabeled. All of that stuff. And sometimes it's just guys don't care, like you said. But I think educating the guys on, and I think I do a good job of that when we get new guys, is tell them like this piece of core, like that is why we're there. Or let's say that core box. Like
that's what pays their bills.
Yeah, it's the only reason everybody's out there.
That's it.
Like the guy burning the garbage in the camp, he's helping to get that. Like, we're not
that's exactly that's what it's all for. A drilling camp is for that core, 100% Sean.
Yeah, so that's why I always thought it's like you get the like drillers and the geologists, and it's like, for what? Like you're out there for the same reason. But as having the drill company, I'd really want to educate the guys like why they're doing this. Why is this important? I've got sent to jobs when they were, doing all that stuff for, I don't know if you've ever been to Divec in the territories, but they would, the diamond mine, they were drilling all in the lake, and then they end up damming it off and sucking the water out, and they mine in there. So we're doing all this drilling out on the border of it, like on the ice, and it's split tube. So we pump the tube out and make your line on there, mostly stick rock, or at least they hope it always is. But then wherever you broke the core to get it in the box, you would put your own mark. Like, I broke this. We're looking for fractures and what condition the ground is in, right? So out there, I think I don't remember them orientating me on it really. It was more of this thing like I got dropped at the drill, and they're like, hey, this is what you do. And at least I had a good driller who was like, and I asked a question like, well, why? And so then he did a good job and told me, well, they want to know where you broke it versus where it was already broken. That's why we're drilling HQ3 and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, if you throw a guy out onto the drill and you don't even tell him any of this stuff, well, why would he care? Like, you didn't even care enough to tell him about it. So I don't know. I think really educating the guys and then making them happy and all that stuff, that's going to contribute to like the clients just having a little easier time out there anyways, which I think there's always room to grow on that one for sure. Absolutely. And yeah, if we bring a geo on here, I would just love to hear stories about like the guy after 6 weeks, can he even draw a straight line on that core anymore? Like he's so spun out in the head.
Them too, that's true. Especially when they're bringing in 100 meters of core every day or whatever, right?
Yeah. Or he's like texting his old lady or his new girlfriend on a Friday night on the Starlink, and she's out at the bar, and he's got to worry about like making that line on the core. Like, I just don't think his heart's going to be fully into it.
I know they're pretty straight, eh?
Yeah.
They're pretty good. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's
funny.
Yeah. I guess you've worked all over the place, but what about like location? Where would you ever base the company out of? Like head office and your big shop or whatever? How would you do it?
I mean, I'm a Saskatchewan guy. There's definitely a lot, but I like I think, man, that's a tough one. Like, I guess it depends where you want your eggs to really drill. I mean, when if like,
or you just run it out of an RV like Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Chase the work.
Building drills in the Walmart parking lot. I don't know. That's another tough one, Sean. I don't like it. There's just so much going on, like in the summer, the Yukon, BC in the summer, and then northern Saskatchewan in the winter, and northern Manitoba in the winter, right? There's so much going on. So that's another tough one. It'd be kind of nice to have multiple little places, a little shop there, and then a main shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's another one tough one. Or just at my house, even like say outside of Winnipeg, and just have a big shop in my yard, kind of like Top Rank there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then you're set up at home.
Yeah, and like that'll be interesting to hear from those guys. Just guys who started their own companies, how they did it. Obviously, the money plays a big role. Like, you're starting your outfit, you can't just go build a big shop somewhere. But saying like, fuck it, I'm gonna sign a lease, like a couple year lease for a big shop and run out of there. That is realistic. Or should I work out of my barn at my house? It's just, and yeah, I guess like mobbing stuff. Like, say you're in like Newfoundland. Well, are you gonna grab jobs in BC? Like, can you get your shit there to be competitive with everyone else? It's just like,
that's what I mean. Like, you're gonna transport an MP2 or a A5 all the way across Canada for a job you're gonna make $100K on or whatever, and you know what I mean? Like, is it? And then it's gonna sit
everything goes good.
And then it's just gonna sit there, right? What's gonna happen? And you got to get it back, and so that's where I think, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think I don't know. You kind of nailed it there, though, with you had said maybe like little shops wherever you can.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've just think of stuff you've done out at the field, or if you work for smaller companies or even home-based ones. I've seen some stuff come out of people's like barns or shops at their houses that is like mint, like nicer than I've seen with like the big players. Mind you, they only got 1 or 2 drills, and this other company's got 300. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where your mechanical work is getting done, as long as it's good and everything works. It looks good. So that's the cool thing about, I guess it goes with everything really, but like there's so many different ways of going about it. That's the stories that I really want to hear from people. But I think for me, I'd probably try to at least have 2 main locations, like one up north and one, like we're just talking like Canada, but let's say if we're operating in the States, have one, I don't know, like somewhat central, and then I don't know. I feel like that would be the best way to go about it. But most likely, if I was from Saskatchewan, I'm just going to have it in whatever town I'm at, probably, and I'll just load it on a trailer and ship it wherever, which seems to work for a lot of people too. But I don't know. Try to chase the action, I guess. Maybe that's not a bad idea, working out of the Walmart parking lots, though.
We're on to something. You're free camping.
Get like a toy hauler. You can fit an A5 engine and power pack in. You could just do the work.
Twisting wrenches there, yeah.
Yeah. Every day, like your mechanic's based at Walmart. You just pull in a car hauler. He works on the power pack. He's gone. Next guy's coming in with like he's got a B20 head in there.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
So what about equipment? But obviously, yeah, it depends what you're doing, right? Skid or fly. But if you're starting out, you had the cash for like 2 drills and parts for both of them. Like, well, what do you think you'd do there?
For what kind of drills you mean, Sean, you're talking about? Or
yeah, like you only got the cash to buy, let's say 2 drills. That's what your business plan is. Now, like, do you buy the same ones? Do you try to get some skid work, some fly work, track work? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I think I would I'd just get an old 648 John Deere skidder or something. And I mean, a guy can really make something into something, right? Like, I mean, I could go walk outside at -40 and go to fire a cat with the DEF system on it. It ain't gonna go, but I could take a can of ether out to an old 648 and give her a shot, and she'll fire it up, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd definitely buy a skidder. That'd be my go-to until I make some money and probably get a nice dozer. And I'd just keep it simple, man. I'd get some small little drills worth pretty penny, or like even like a CS 1000 with a cable or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something just simple.
Then you can fly and do skid work with it.
Yeah, you can mount it in a shack, Sean, or whatever, like, right? Mm-hmm. Not just big fancy electronic and all that good stuff these days, but something that'll drill. But nowadays too, it's a lot of deep hole. A lot of guys are going deep, and it's definitely good to have a deep hole drill that will go deep as well, right? So that's probably where I would go towards. Even if if I had to cancel one drill and just buy some, I'd get something big enough to go 2,000 meters, but it's still easy to fly and put in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at least you're not kind of limiting yourself. I was talking to Jay Medwig, who owns Alpha Drilling. Him and Kirby own it. I think that's their structure, anyways. But and he was interested in coming on the show too, so maybe we'll have him one day. But they're like smaller outfit, and they probably had to kind of ask themselves those kind of questions. I won't really get into it since it's his story to tell, but I think, and from what I've heard from other people, I'm assuming, let's say you got the cash for 2 drills, a thing like an A5 or like a hydrocore, something like that, I think is a good one, because you can still get some deeper holes with it, but you can easily fly it. Everybody knows how to fly. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can't fly an A5, we actually had a guy, I think he had said, I don't know how to fly this one, but I've flown lots of them. And it's like, well, then you haven't, because they're all the same, like.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I try to get something like pretty common that can fly, do skid, but most workers can work on. And most guys have flown an A5 or they've flown a hydrocore.
Yeah.
But even that, like you said with the skidder, simplicity and just mechanical simplicity would be the best one starting out, because a lot of these drills now too, with like the emissions regulations and stuff, you have to have, and everything's electronic on them now too, which is fine when it works, but now if you turn it on, that engine don't go. It's not like you can just go wrap some haywire around the fuel solenoid and
get her going. Exactly.
So you're kind of screwed there. So I'd say like customer service would be a huge one with deciding which drill I get. Like I know with hydrocore, they've been pretty good. Like I've seen Nigel out on a lot of jobs, like actually flying there to get something going, which is great that they do that. But I mean, there's always spots where they're not available to do that all the time. And so I'd think like, something that everybody can work on and take a lot of the guessing stuff out of it. I always like that with gear jammers. You know, if something was broken, it was like it's actually broken. You just get that new piece and you put it in there, and you're going again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be hung up in the field so much. But yeah, unless you just say fuck it and you just buy 2 big ass skid drills and you're like, this is all I do. Well, maybe that's a route to go too.
Yeah, just old 237s or something and drill in northern Saskatchewan and drag them around, right? That's the dream. That's the dream.
That is the dream, you know,
We
working
wouldn't want to look
8-week
at those every
hitches.
morning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 8-week hitch on a 37
Yeah.
in northern Saskatchewan.
Doing
It's the
some sand there.
sandstone
Yeah.
and the cook's hot and you're like
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the dream.
I guess another one I had, we don't really have to talk about, like, I guess we did get into pay and bonus and stuff like that, but you obviously want to pay the most. I think if you pay the most, you get the most guys in there too, but then you can get rid of some people. Like if they don't buy into it, it's like, go somewhere else then. You know, we pay a top dollar. We want the best of the best, and who everybody wants to work for the highest paying company. So, but yeah, if you pay bigger bonus, you're going to get harder work out of guys to a degree. That's the other thing.
I mean, you look at a company and you can almost tell like who is, I don't know how to say this without hurting any feelings, but
I'll hurt the feelings.
Like there's many companies out there that are very hard to get on with, and then you look at their bonus structure and you understand why, right? They're not gonna hire this just some random guy like out of the blue that says he's been doing this for a year. Well, other guys have been trying to get on for years at this company. So it's one look at the bonus structure, and you can tell what outfit is good, like what it's come down to these, right? That's what we do this for, Sean, right? You're not going to go here and drill for this and then go here and this guy's paying big bucks. You want to be where the money is, right? So you can really tell what kind of outfit is ran, kind of just by looking at that, even.
Yeah.
Just by right. I mean,
yeah, I think I listen to all these like podcasts and just interviews with business owners and stuff, and like a lot of them, they always say, hire slow and fire fast. So it's like, take your time, really vet the people, make sure you got the right guys coming in. But if they're not buying into how you guys work, or they're just not producing, then you're out of here. Like
they'll wean you out. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's either you pay the most, or you have consistent work, or you just have a solid company that people want to work for. Like I think that middle ground is where you're not just a number, but they still have a whole shitload of drills going. So you're treated really good financially, but you gotta work with them as well. Like it's a two-way street. So I see a fair share of guys who bounce around just chasing the highest wage. And I've had some guys quit. We were doing like retention bonus too. So every check you were putting money away and you're getting paid that at the end of the year. And then we were actually doubling that money. So like if you've already worked like 7-8 months for a company, I don't care what the other guys are paying, you stay there. You should finish that year because you're going to get a huge check in like January or something. But I had a guy walk away and he lost like $10,000, did like 4 weeks with someone else, and then he's like, oh no, I want to come back. And it's like, well, like you lost all that retention. He's
it's
like,
gone, partner. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like you don't want it to be like a trap where you're keeping these guys, but it's like, here's your reward for staying on too.
Yeah.
You didn't go. Who cares if you're getting $1 or $2 more somewhere else? But yeah, if your bonus is a lot bigger and stuff, depending how it is, it's worth moving.
But that's like you said too. The consistency is a big consistency, and then there's a big thing for guys. And some guys are like myself. There, I was with a company for 10 years, and the guy's just comfortable. Like you get to know. You can walk in the shop and you can shake everyone's hand, right? Everyone knows each other. I worked with the same guys for 10 years there. So I mean, you get very comfortable with them, get to know them, and a guy's you're kind of worried for change, right? Like you're just comfortable where you are, and you're happy with your money you make, right? But yeah, consistent work is a big thing too.
Yeah. Well, I see some guys, they put in 20 years with one company. It's like, I'm sure they've got some really good offers to go somewhere else, but
yeah, all the time.
At the end of the day, they've, I don't know, been working every year. And I don't know, let's just say they've been making 130,000 a year for the past however long. Like, as long as it works for their family and everything, it's those are the guys you want. You want the guys to stay on, but they want to work hard for you. Like they don't start fizzling out. Like, I'm comfy here now, and they stop producing. That's where it's nice to get like the fresh blood in there, like someone who really wants to make a name for themselves. And everyone's got to step it up. Like I've been to camps too. Yeah, you're in a camp, and it's like, everyone's been here for a few months, and we know what we're doing. And then you get some new guy coming in, and he's just wicked. And you're like, fuck. Now
I gotta work.
Hopefully, hopefully you can hang with this guy, and he's not making you look bad. And then you get the other guys who can't, and they're like, fucking like, what a company man. Yet he's making killer bonus too. So I guess the last one I had too, just if you were going in with a company, probably thinking of it more because I've been to these conferences and I've heard of some like service providers kind of teaming up with drilling companies as well, like doing almost like a joint venture a little bit. But like if you had the opportunity, say a guy from like a testing company or like a surveying company, or like a bit company or downhole parts producer, like something like that, or a drill manufacturer, like do you think that'd be a smart way to go in? Like, we have this company, we have really good drillers, but we're going to team up and we can offer 2 services now, like drilling and I don't know, we do all your downhole survey stuff.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, there'd be some fine print in there, and then something a guy would have to go over. But I don't know, like I don't know what it's like to own a company. I don't know if partnership on a drilling company in any way is good, or if a guy can just get by. I would like to try and get by on my own and do it on my own before I try to bring anyone into it. But I know exactly what you're talking about. You see that lots these days, like geology and drilling company together, right? Going in and doing their own thing. Even drilling companies going in and doing their own camp is coming out these days. But me personally, Sean, I would just run my company till I get going and then keep it that way and see how that goes, right?
Just I guess, once you tie in with someone else, then it's like, oh, well, I'm not the boss anymore, or not fully the boss.
Yeah, and then you got to worry, kind of. It's more weight on your shoulders, kind of, I would think. But
yeah, I think I'd probably like try slug it out on my own as well if I was starting really from nothing, and then at some point, like try to bring people in to like build your team around you, and then go from there. But I guess if you say you partnered up with like a bit company, and it's like we're exclusive to whatever, like Greasy Driller Bits, that's all we can use now, and then Greasy Driller Bits has like just garbage. Now you've like kind of sewered your name really with a shitty product. But that'd be interesting. Like it'll be really, it's cool to ask these questions now, because then as we get drill company owners on the show, I'd be really curious, especially the ones who've made it work. I don't know if we'll ever get someone on who like had just a failed company and they want to tell their story, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it myself, probably. Leave the past in the past. But I guess the last one, maybe. What would you call it? You got a name? You must have. You did a lot of deep holes, so you got a lot of tube time. And
I don't know, man. Like this is a big one I thought about many a times as the name. But I'm not really stuck on anything. I never really. I never gave it. Now you put me right on the spot, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah, we probably should have talked about this one before.
Yeah, like, you should have gave me a heads up here, partner, or something. Like,
Maybe yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should be doing this every like few months. Like, hey Brent, what's the company name now? Like
just a different name every couple months, eh?
Yeah. Well, I've seen that a few times too. Company fails. They're like, well, change the name, change the logo.
Oh yeah. And it's good. Some of the times it's kind of like the same thing, but it's not the same thing, like the same name, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what I would name it. We had this joke that I should find the logo. I don't know what the hell we were talking about. I think we were just like sitting in a container one day bullshitting me and one guy, but I told him, I don't know if I came up with the name or he did, but we said we'd call it Core Snake, and the logo would be a snake that's eating a piece of core. Or the snake looks like core, but it's eating itself or something. Yeah. That's awesome. And we just went on this whole thing about like what the coveralls. It's mostly how you market yourself, you know, like what the coveralls would look like, what your slogan is, all that. I'll have to find that. I'll find that logo and show it on one next time we come up with names. But I know for sure, you know, we were talking about like the New Age logo, like with the purple, just trying to be like different or just original to what your thing is. I always thought names like, you know, actually like Major Drilling. It's like, it's just an impactful name. Like it's Major. That's what it is. And then there's like some, I don't know, like cool ones. Like I always thought like Top Rank is a cool name. They just used their name and incorporated it.
Their last name, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I worked for one called Dig It Drilling before. And their logo looked pretty sick. Yeah. But yeah, no, just something different. I was gonna say you could call it Morecore, but that's already a company. So
yeah. Oh yeah, it's my last name. Yeah.
But yeah, well, I don't know. Unless you have something to add to your dream company, we can always revisit this one though. Maybe by the end of it, we'll just have like Greasy.
Don't put me on
the spot. We'll just have Greasy Driller.
Yeah.
But I guess we should probably shut her down here.
Yeah, good bullshit with you there, anyhow.
Yeah, I guess the other thing too. I'll just throw. Well, I threw it up here already, but we have the website now too, greasydriller.com. Still working on it, but basically you go on there. It's going to be a library of all shows, maybe a teaser for ones that are coming up. Brent, you got a lot of different just Greasy Driller shirts and hats. And what about those rings? Is that
we'll be doing some rings, Sean, and I was kind of just giving them out to some guys, but we're gonna start putting them out there, and like you said, hats, and then we'll get to some shirts and even like flags and stuff, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. That'd be a cool one. You know, I've had a lot of guys bring flags out and like hung them off the drills and stuff like that. I always hated when they did it on a chopper job, but on a skid drill and stuff, I thought it was pretty wicked. You guys do that. But and then I think another thing on the website too we'll have is where people could just write in and kind of vote on topics for us to talk about. Like I think this Dream Drilling Company one is a pretty cool one. But people want to submit something on there or even through the email. I'll throw that up there too. Like be a guest, or just if you have any suggestions or comments, write them on YouTube or email us, whatever you feel like doing. But yeah, we'll have that on the website. And then for just in general to get a hold of the show or to try to get yourself on the show, go to the website, use the email, just reach out however you can. And the other thing too, we'll kind of open it up to sponsors and advertisements and stuff, but we'll have links to all of our sponsors and advertisers on there as well. And maybe down the road, it'd be kind of cool to almost do it'd be cool if people are hitting that site up to see like maybe some new products, like just drilling stuff. Yeah. But I don't know, maybe links to new things that are going on and
absolutely
people who are sponsoring us. But yeah, that's really all I got. I haven't made an outro to the show yet, so I guess we'll just play the intro one more time here and
Yeah.
listen to some Nelson Little here. But yeah, I suppose that'll be it, eh, Brent? You got anything
Yeah.
else to add, or
No, we'll talk again here this week, Sean.
yeah, that
Okay,
sounds
partner.
good.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll roll the outro. Take
Okay,
care,
buddy.
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a diamond drilling roughneck working nowhere near a town. When I get out, I'll scream and shout hell by the bar around. A diamond drilling roughneck working all year long. It's time